Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about the Unit 6B test review. A lot of you guys have questions, so I figured maybe we should make a video and get some questions answered. Our question number one, Amy is interested in a luxury car that has a base price of $27,895, options totaling $6,000, and a dock fee of $475. The TAVT is 7%. What is the total price of the car? Now, remember that the sticker price is going to be the base price, which is $27,000, plus the options. All right, so you're going to add those two numbers up and you're going to get the sticker price. All right. Secondly, the TAVT is 7%. Now, if you remember, in this particular example, what you're going to do is you're going to take the TAVT, which is 7%, convert it to a decimal, and put a 1 in front of it. So it's 1.07 times the sticker price, which is 34,000. $69.95. That's the only thing you're multiplying by the TAVT, and then you're going to tack on the 475. Now, there is no title fee here. There is no title fee, so that means there's no title fee, you just disregard. So when I do all the multiplications and adding, I get $36,929.85. Okay? Question number two, Carl drove his subcompact car 24,000 miles. All right, last year his variable cost totaled this amount of money, and his fixed cost totaled that. Now, very simply, here's what you're going to do. To find the cost per mile, it is the total dollars divided by the miles. So it's going to be the total dollars divided by the miles. So I'm going to add up these two dollar number, or these 4,000 and 1,000. I'm going to add that up and divide it by 24,200. When I do that, my answer is going to be in the form of money, and it's going to be 25 cents. Kim's annual car insurance premium is $2,284. If she pays monthly, there is a 5% payment surcharge. That's just an extra fee. What is her monthly payment? Very simply, this is what I'm going to do. I got to convert her annual pay, or I'm sorry, her annual bill, which is $2,084. I'm going to divide that by 12. And I'm going to get a number, which that number ends up being $190.33. But there's a $5 or payment surcharge, so I'm going to tack on $5 to that. And so my final answer is very simply is going to be $195.33. All right, moving on. Desmond has a policy of 300 bodily insurance. On the way to school, he gets into an accident with another car. 4 passengers, Joe, Mary, Susan, and Bob. They were all injured, and Desmond's getting sued by a lot of people. Now, what I would recommend you do, and I wrote it on here on the review, is that create a chart. So I'm going to create a chart to keep all my information organized. So here it goes. So there's my chart right here, okay? So we have Joe, Mary, Susie, and Bob, and each of them are suing for this amount of money. All right, now remember the first number is 100 when it comes to their policy, or when it comes to Desmond's policy. So that means no person can get over 100 grand from the insurance. So that means Joe is wanting 145,000, so the insurance will pay only 100,000, which means Desmond's got to pay the additional 45 grand. Now, under Mary here, she wants 35,500. Well, that's well below the 100 grand, so that's 35,500, which means Desmond pays nothing. Okay. Now, person number 3 is Susie, $20,500. Well, remember that's $120,500. That's above the 100,000. So insurance will only kick in 100,000, which means Desmond's got to pay the additional 20,500. Now, stop for a second. We're dealing with a lot of victims here. So here's what I recommend you do. You need to keep a running total of how much the insurance has already paid, because at 300,000, which I'm circling here, that's when the insurance tops out. So with Joe, the insurance has already paid 100,000. I'm just going to put that as a 100. Now, with the for Mary, that ends up being 135,000.5. I'm just leaving it as 1,000, so that'll be 500 would be 0.5. All right. Now, notice here that under Susie, the insurance has paid an additional 100 grand. So that means so far they have paid, I'm writing all over this, so I apologize, is 235,500. Okay. Now, here's the problem. Bob needs 75,000. if the insurance pays the entire $75,000, then you have gone over the 300 grand. So the insurance is only going to top out at 300,000. So that means there's only $64,500 left for the insurance to pay. So who pays the rest? Well, that would be Bob. So $10,500. All right. So at this point, now it's just time to answer questions. All right. How much will the insurance company pay Joe? That was 100,000. 100,000. How much the insurance will pay Mary? Well, just reading the chart, 35,500. How much will the insurance company pay Susie? 100,000. All right. How much will the insurance pay Bob? Well, remember it topped out with Bob, so only $64,500. Now the last question, which is E, is what is the total that Desmond will have to pay? Well, that's her chart, her column that you got to add up. So that means with this accident, Desmond will be paying $76,000. All right. Next one. Melina has a gross biweekly income of $2,200. She pays 18% federal taxes, put aside 10%. All right, and she is considering an apartment that rents $1,200 a month. Now, there's a lot of information here you may not use at all. It says find the range of rent that is recommended. Well, that goes back to the budgeting thing, okay? Now, the budgeting calls for rent is 25 to 30%, okay? That's 25 to 30%. That is what is recommended if you're going to rent. All right, so what we've got to do is we've got to figure out, it's a two-step problem here. We got to figure out the rent, which is $1,200, divided by the monthly income. Now, the only thing that we have is the biweekly income. Okay, so let me see if I can move this down. All right, there we go. So the biweekly income is $2,200. Now we've got to convert that to monthly. So we're going to multiply it by 26 to get yearly. We're going to get a number, and then we're going to divide it by 12. And that'll give us our monthly. So our monthly ends up being, I'm just going to type it. Sometimes it's easier to type. $4,766.67. That's how much her monthly income is. Now, find the range of rent. Well, it's 25 to 30%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find I'm going to go ahead and answer the second part. Is the apartment she found within the recommended range? So how do I do that? Very simply. I take the rent, which is $1,200, and I'm going to divide that by the monthly income, which is $4,766.67. When I do that, it ends up being 25.2%. Now, is that within the recommended range? The answer is yes. Okay, so based on her expenses, can she make the monthly payments? The answer is not that, but yes. All right, moving on. Question number 6. Ricky took out a $170,000 mortgage, dollar mortgage, and a 15-year mortgage at an APR of 4.36%. Wow, I get it right. All right, so when working the formula, what did you get for the numerator? All right, so basically we're taking all this information. Remember that 170,000 is what P is going to be. R is going to be 0.0436. All right, and lastly, 15 will be T. All right, now I put A and B here so we can all get the same answer. Okay, when working the formula, meaning the entire numerator, I get 1,186.50 or 50. All right. All right, so that's my numerator. All right, rounded 2 decimal places. Now I'm going to take all that information and then find the denominator. So when I do that, my denominator ends up being 0.92. So 0.92. Just going to leave it 0.92. Now, so we can all get the same exact answer. Okay, I'm going to take my numerator and divide it by my denominator. Okay, and when I do that is what is the monthly payment? And the monthly payment ends up being $1,289.67. Okay, so I'm looking at the time and I'm going to stop this. This will be, I guess, part 1 of who knows how many videos for the review. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for part 2.